Hello students, I'm Dr. Padma Tripathi and today we are going to talk about group dynamics. Now we understand the meaning of dynamics, right? When things happen, movement. So how groups come into picture, how they are formed and what are the stages of group formation. And I'm sure in fact that you must all have worked in groups, in teams, right? So what are the stages through which people they form into an actual group? They come together, yes, they don't know each other sometimes, and sometimes they are forced by the organization or wherever they are working to come into a group. There are different types of groups. You might have heard about interest groups, where people with common interests come together. Like if you like reading books, other people who like similar kind of books, it's a natural tendency to get attracted to such people and get into a group kind of a formation, right? Then there are other groups like formal groups where you are working under the same supervisor or manager. So in that way, you are part of that group who are working under the same supervisor. Sometimes there are groups which are temporary. For example, project groups. So there is a project in an organization which requires different skilled people. So someone from marketing, someone from finance, someone from human resources, operations. So such people are collected together for a particular project based on their interests, their skills, their past experiences, and then they come together to form a group. So these are called formal groups. Now, we are not going to get deeper into the types of groups, rather how any type of group is formed. What are the different stages through which a group formation happens, right? Very simple stages, and when I start speaking, you might like to reflect on your lives, how these stages, you've been a part of these stages sometime or the other in your lives, right? And when you enter any organization like this institute, Jaipuria Institute, you will be collectively part of a larger team, right? And you will experience all these stages, and I'm sure you're going to appreciate this lecture more when you are actually into that stage of group formation, right? To begin with, the first stage of group formation or team formation is forming stage. As the name suggests, forming means something is getting made, formation, right? So this is the stage when people come together. They might not know each other. So basically the focus of the group members is to get to know each other better, to understand what the other member brings with him or her to the group, what are the skills that each member possesses, and quite naturally, what are the behavioral patterns, what is the personality, what the person behaves, what is the nature of that person? Is that person dominating or is that person friendly? All these things, all these thoughts come very naturally in that first stage when the group is just forming. And once the group settles down, beyond that stage of formation, the second stage comes into picture, which is storming. Now, very interesting stage and very, it highlights the entire process. Although the term storming seems to be quite, very negative, maybe rife with conflicts, but no, it is not. It is quite natural when people come together, they get to know each other, then there are clashes. So storming, the storm word in the second stage of group formation stands for that people are now getting into conflicts. They are getting to know each other's interpersonal styles. You may not like another group member's style of talking, the way he or she behaves, right? The way he or she listens or doesn't listen to you or somebody else. So there is a lot of storming happening, a lot of conflict depending on the personalities, the interpersonal styles of people, the way they make decisions. Someone is very hasty in making decisions. The other person might like to take some more time to give a second thought. So that is where people who have come together recently in the forming stage are now getting to know each other better. And there are lots of emotional as well as mental issues that arise during that stage. Now, one would question, then why is it important to have this stage? Because it is natural. It will happen whether you like it or not. And there are positives of that as well, right? When we have those clashes in the initial stages of group formation, then we get to know and we move ahead. We mature into the third stage, which is the norming. Once we understand each other's styles, personalities, right, then the norms within that group are established. Norms are the rules of that group. How are we supposed to behave in this particular group, so that we do not lose focus on the larger goal, right? Because as basic as that, any group, any team comes into picture keeping in view the larger goal. There is a goal, there is a project which needs to be, completed. There is a goal which needs to be fulfilled. There are things, the reason, the larger reason. And for that, a group needs to move beyond the storming stage to the norming stage, where all the rules within the group are established, that how to handle difficult people, if there are difficult people in your group, and how to take effective decisions, and how to progress in your actual work, right? So instead of getting distracted by all the conflict, now people start forming those rules, understanding those rules, knowing each other better to perform in a more effective manner. Once this norming is done, we move to the next stage, which is performing. As the name suggests, it is the stage when the group members, the team members, are now actually giving the best output expected from them as a group, as a team, right? This is the stage when they actually start performing. Now, all the conflicts, all the differences within the group members is known to each other. They have formed their rules, they know how to behave, so that there is less friction and more work done. So this is the matured stage of a group, when they actually do work and they are more focused on the outside parties, the larger goal, rather than the within group conflicts. Once this is done, once the group has performed the duties, the performing stage is over, the goal has been reached. In temporary groups, there is a stage which comes, and it is known as the adjourning stage, the last stage of any group, where the team members, they separate their ways, right? For a permanent team, this might not happen, but this happens very frequently in temporary teams, like a project team, different departments, people coming together representing different departments, and now they have to go back to their own domains, their own departments. So the basic thing expected from a good adjourning stage is that all those members who came together for a particular project should part ways amicably. They should be willing to come together whenever required in future, and that is how the whole group or team formation happens. So these were the stages of a team formation, and I am sure that when you become a part of any team or any group, you will appreciate the different stages. Last but not the least, keep in mind that all these stages do not happen in silos. There is no sequence basically. Every team, every group is, there is a continuous stages, all these stages are happening continuously. So when we talk about performance stage or the performing, when they are all performing, there might be two people who are still in that storming stage. So simultaneously these groups, these stages within the group keep happening, and there is no set boundary that okay, now after 10 days this stage will be over and the next will begin. No, simultaneously it will happen, but what we can see as a part of the group or as an outsider are the major characteristics of that particular stage of the group formation. That is all about group formation, different stages, and I hope you will apply your judgment whenever you are a part of a group to make sure that you get the best out of that particular stage. Thank you so much.